All right, so yes, I'm back. We have an illithid on the cover. I had some wonderful salsa. Um, let's see. Did I miss anything else? So, Old Port, you left off at our break. Acquisition Incorporated has a surprisingly large vehicle section, and we'll be sure to check that out. James Norse arrives. Carl is here. So, hello to James and hello to Carl. Patty Lip says, anything worth mentioning over the last month at the store? In terms of what exactly, Pouty Lips? We've been, I mean, the store is always undergoing a project, something being renovated or replaced or something new coming in. Never saw C-Team, so no clue. Anything? Yeah, there's always something happening at the store, Pouty Lips. It's, cherry limeade, Carl. Let's hear it. I mean, we've expanded our seating area. We have tournaments. We're growing in terms of our Warhammer players. Made some. I made some okay progress in the last month in my Tomb of Annihilation game. Although I ended up taking 1 week off because I had a funeral. It's the new stuff is coming in, new products and launch parties and people coming in, board games. Because this is a tourist town. A lot of people are coming through, and we're sitting right on a major artery through town. So we've just gotten to meet a lot of new people who stop in with their kids, or they a lot of folks will just go to a game if they go to their local game store when they travel. They'll see what other game stores are like in other places that they're going to, and so we've had a lot of folks just visit that way too. James, you are welcome to throw the 2 cents as much as you want here. This is a discussion. We can discuss this. If you have a good or bad opinion about something, then we can include that in there. I'm going into this blind. I've never consumed Acquisitions Incorporated content before, and besides getting like reading the first couple pages to make sure that it was referencing the DMG and the PHB to get those prepared. This is all blind. I have not pre-read this book. The attractions that make it a tourist town, there's an amusement park called Cedar Point. It is an internationally known roller coaster capital of the world. And so a lot of people come from a lot of places to go to Cedar Point. There's also giant resorts that have indoor water parks. And we're also on Lake Erie. So there's also a lot more people who come into town also so that they can boat, fish, swim, go out to the Lake Erie Islands, to Put-in Bay or to Kelly's Island and relax or party or some mix of the two. Summer's absolutely bonkers here because of that. And James, hey, if you lived in the area, it'd be great to see. In fact, there is someone in the community that is going to be stopping out at the store tomorrow, and I'm going to go say hi to that person. I was contacted, and the person said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to town. I'm going to Cedar Point, but while we're here, I'd love to stop out and meet you." And so I'll be shaking a hand tomorrow at the store. It'll be a lot of fun. When does my Acquisitions Incorporated franchise get an expansion? Technically, this channel is an expansion of my Acquisitions Incorporated, if we're counting the store as the original. And so I hope both continue to expand. There's so much that I want to do with both of these, but it's got to grow, and to do that, it's outreach, it's contact, it's eyeballs and interaction, and building the community in a way that's not contrived. So if there's a sugar daddy at the You haven't read through everything yet, but I feel like this book is homebrewed by people that play the rule of cool. Yes, James, you beat me to it, but you're welcome to steal that thunder. So far, with what we've read, this is a supplement that encourages the rule of cool and gives you rules, but then asks you not necessarily to break them, but to think beyond them. Use these as core starting points and let your imagination take over. So yes, this is a supplement that seems to be written not to introduce crunch, not to take a storytelling session and turn it into an accounting minigame where that's all you do is process numbers. You can. We, as human beings, we make so much stuff extra more complicated than it ever has to be. But so far with what we've read, this is how we run our D&D. We thought we'd share it with you because it's been so popular, given all the media and the other attention. Let me get the casino owner hooked on D&D first. Old Port Media. Hey, you could, I'm sure with the entertainment budget at a casino, you could run like a high roller D&D session and people would pay. And you'd already have actresses walking around in costumes or whatever else. You know, to offer like a nice executive D&D, that would be, you know, that'd be something other casinos probably don't entertain. Now they may have a gaming convention, but so Old Port, I need you to get on that. Tell him about this yokel out in Ohio who wants a hot dog roller for for his for his store, and and there we go. It is whatever, the Bellagio. Yeah, I'll put a little fountain out in front or something. Our town is like famous for a fountain in its downtown anyway. It's called the Boy with the Boot. But or we'll be like the Luxor, and like when we open up every morning, I'll just hold a flashlight to the sky. James says, I'm not really keen on these third-party material getting the WotC stamp, but they want to cut rather than people branching out. At least it's been refreshing in that it says that this is supplementary material, and you know, use it as you will. But yeah, I mean, D&D. Look at the DM's Guild, right? The DM's Guild is meant to open up the possibilities for you all as homebrewers to make supplements like this and sell it and make money off of it. Yes, they get a cut, but so do you. And maybe you can, you know, hit that next, you know, it puts it out. It's constant product testing. It's brilliant, honestly. So it's power creep like Jay's Magic Missile, which also really muddles the rules. Well, just because it's printed in a book doesn't mean that it has to be allowed at a tabletop. So bear that in mind. Now, you may allow the custom race, and we'll get to that tomorrow. You may allow the custom race in there, but you might find content. I mean, there's probably spells in Xanathars that people say, no, it's dumb, it's powerful, or, you know, it's a spell, it's a legitimate offering, and people are like, wow, that's a waste of ink. Who would ever take that spell? Ever. You have a literal indoor canal system. That clearly no one has ever thrown up, peed, or pooed into. That and the C-Team guys are slowly taking jobs at WotC. They're getting people on the inside. This is exactly how you grow your franchise. See, so there we go. Old Port, you're my dude on the inside. You gotta, just like the Mind Flayer, right? You gotta infiltrate and get one of the casino bigwigs hooked onto D&D, and the rest, as they say, is history. Consume the brain. Kitty Bird the Shiny, welcome to you. Everyone in town hates the Luxor at the moment. Oh, because they're the ones that brought the. Has that been resolved? Are the grasshoppers gone? Is it still going on, or Or is it really, is there litigation? I think I remember you saying something along the lines that it might turn into a lawsuit. They moved more into North Vegas, Nellis Air Force Base. Well, at least they're not on the Strip, so I'm sure that has a lot of the casinos happy for that. Running an Acquisitions Incorporated franchise offers countless benefits to an adventuring party. But those benefits, they ain't cheap, brother. Operating the franchise, installing and maintaining franchise features, paying staff, creating merchandise with the proper branding, settling legal issues. If you were going into business, you better be prepared, because the state, an individual, an angry someone is just chomping at the bit to sue the pants off you. And more are all encompassed by the baseline costs for a franchise's headquarters, a multiplier from the franchise's rank, and the franchise party's business performance for the month. If a franchise's costs leave a party low on cash, that's a sign that it's time to go adventuring. Alternatively, characters might use downtime to structure a leaner business or engage in non-adventuring activities to bring in more gold. See franchise tasks and downtime later in the chapter. A franchise's major domo handles these finances and makes all necessary payments to the head office, suppliers, and other agents, as long as sufficient funds are available. The baseline monthly cost of a franchise is calculated based on the franchise's headquarters, as noted on the baseline costs table on the next page. The costs on this table differ from the costs found in the recurring expenses section of Chapter 6 of the DMG. Chapter 6. Hey, look at that. The references work, everyone. Recurring expenses. Beep, 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 beep. Hope you've had your Dungeon Master's Guide handy to supplement Acquisitions Incorporated. The costs on this table differ from those. Now, there's also a couple other things, too, in the Player's Handbook. There are some other things like lifestyle expenses. May not necessarily be the same. And, of course, if you want to buy some supplies, it talks about trade goods. This is something to be covered later, but Chapter 5 has more than just swords and armor in it. This is because franchise costs include a tithe to head office, repayment to Acquisitions Incorporated for funding the initial construction or purchase of the headquarters, the use of approved contractors for construction and maintenance, and other subtle fees. Baseline costs are for representative dwellings and can be adjusted by the DM as needs be. A noble estate that is the envy of other nobles might demand expenditures of double or triple the baseline cost. A franchise's baseline cost might also change during the course of the campaign. A party might initially start out headquartered in an abandoned lighthouse with monthly expenses of 250 gold. But as time passes and headquarter features are added, that lighthouse might grow in size, weapon features, and magic to resemble a fortified tower. The DM will modify the baseline cost as needed to fit the headquarters and the Campania style. So here you go, baseline costs. This is replacing, supplementing, or at least you can compare back and forth between the types of buildings that you see here and the more specific take in Acquisitions Incorporated. Now, this is somewhat similar to Ghosts of Saltmarsh, where the DMG and the Player's Handbook talk about the types of ships that are presented, but you might find more detail or some alternative things to think about in the supplement that could be added on top of what you see in the base in the core books. So, as you can see, it can be expensive. Though, can you imagine you balk at this? You're like, what? 12,000 gold pieces per month? What in the heck? Well, what business can you conduct if you're operating out of a large castle or a palace? We're talking earning the contracts to kingdoms to make their swords and armor or something. This isn't necessarily This isn't necessarily exorbitant. You know, actually, let's take a look here. Let's say that you're hired to make armor, and there's a squad of 50 knights that need full plate armor. If we go to armor, ahem. If we go to armor, plate armor is 1,500 gold pieces. Now that's the market rate. If we go by general crafting rules, it only takes 750 gold to make in raw material cost to make plate armor. Now we can say that, you know, it might take a month and then at 2 gold pieces. So there's an extra, oh no, there's an extra 60 gold pieces in labor, or more if it's a master smith. Still, if it's all rolled in, you're making 750 gold pieces per plate mail, and thusly, you can afford to put more into labor, materials, to upgrade, because 10 suits of armor is going to be 7,500. And another 7,500. So we have 1,500 or 15,000, 30,000, 30,000. Right. Sorry if I'm derping. 750 on top of that no, then another 17. Another 7,500. Because of the extra 10. I said 50. I should just use round numbers. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Sorry about that. Boy, here I'm making a fool of myself on camera because I'm like, yeah, I'm setting up an elaborate business math problem. Like I've never done those before. And then, of course, I choose an odd half number and then, you know, multiply, but whatever. Anyway, factors at 10. If you want to use imperial, then sure. We'll measure how many rods to the hogshead your horseless carriage receives in fuel economy. That's nothing to a tier 4. As that book says, when you're low on funds, go adventure. Find it, right? Earn it. Just hire a forge cleric. Hey, efficiency. We can replace staff if we just get forge clerics. We got to make more forge. Suddenly this is an RTS instead of D&D. DMG only allowed for a small flat income monthly. Xanathar's Guide to Everything lets you spend downtime, and you could make a nice penny buying and selling or such. Yeah, Xanathar's Guide also has downtime activity. Now there is some downtime activity in here, and maybe this book even references Xanathar's, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. But yeah, I mean, just you can see big numbers, but if you're employing capital, we're getting into economics now. If you're employing capital and not just sitting on it, it's going to do so much for you. Many businesses don't have like a Scrooge McDuck vault filled with cash, because cash just sitting around does nothing. It could even devalue. Companies obviously have cash on hand. However, a lot of that cash is kept in circulation through other investments, through, you know, like commercial paper, where one business will loan to another, not through a bank, but it's, you know, president of one company, you know, company A approaches company B, says, hey, you know, we need 50,000 for this. We've done business before. Can we get 50K from you and we'll pay you back 55 in 2 months? From one company to another, sure. And now that other company has employed its money to make money, because otherwise that $50,000 is just sitting there collecting nothing. You're losing value to interest if it's just sitting around. And so investing in technology, investing in new innovation and product, money is churning and moving. Stagnant money is bad. James says, but I'm playing a living world, multiple DMs in one server, similar to Adventures League, which needs more standardized rules and a steady economy. Old Port says, we do? We do what? I'm sorry, I lost the reference. Or unless you mean churn money, in which case I believe... Well, I mean, I don't know if there's some sort of a private reserve or what the laws are specifically for that. You know, there are vaults, but there's also the company overarching, you know, doesn't just hoard. You know, the casinos themselves are going to be investing in a lot of stuff to keep that money going and churning and overturning and multiplying. Yeah, exactly. It's just like a reserve. It's just like a reserve at a bank. You know, this is going to get into an economics lesson. I can present this on another night, but yes, if you keep your money moving, it is a lot better than just letting it sit around. But yes, you might have to face a reserve, a legal reserve, or an internal company policy reserve. But yeah, I mean, so you'd have to, because if someone does strike it big, that way you don't get that stereotypical, yeah, I bought the house, you know, because the casino can't pay the crap shot that won, you know, that apparently was worth, you know, millions of dollars and ended up you buy the hotel, kind of a thing. You got to be able to pay out in the sense that some people might actually hit it big. Or you just get a surge of activity and whatnot. All right, so the multiplier in the franchise advancement table is applied to a franchise's baseline cost. This represents the increased cost a franchise faces as it expands into larger markets. Each month, a franchise performs the running a franchise task, which can be found in the franchise tasks and downtime section later in the chapter. The result of this task is used to calculate the final monthly cost and is deducted from the franchise's coffers. That's why banks nearly went bust. Yes, because they relended. Well, so that goes on, James. Though there's an enforced reserve that banks must keep X amount of money deposited in them in their coffers. We'll use the Adventures League, Acquisition Incorporated, because then that same dollar is gonna transfer out, and you know, at 10%, $100 turns into $1,000. But yeah, that's so. You want to talk about the Federal Reserve System in D&D, no less? Yeah, James. Yep. And of course, there's also the insurance. At least here in the States, if you live outside the United States, it might be a state insurance, it might be private, or a combination, or maybe there's not. But there's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. You might see FDIC in a lot of bank ads. No self-respecting franchise would ever run out of money and fail to make its monthly payments. Right? Were that to happen, the amount owed plus a modest 15% penalty would be due to head office the following month. Failing to make payments, and especially defaulting on 2 or more payments in a row, is likely to trigger campaign consequences. I like that term. Head office might send inspectors to a troubled franchise, or assign the franchisees a difficult and hopefully profitable mission. Rival groups and entrepreneurs might smell blood and attempt to attack the franchise or take over its markets. Nefarious NPCs will most certainly come calling. Defaulting on franchise payments can also strain relationships with nobles, merchants, and others who value a franchise more for its assets than for the characters. Such relationships typically turn frosty until the characters are able to prove that the franchise is back on its feet. A franchise is a complex affair requiring its participants to fulfill a myriad of important duties necessary for its proper growth and the enrichment of Acquisitions Incorporated head office. A company position establishes a character's role within a franchise, as well as a relationship with the larger AC Inc. organization. When you choose a company position for your character, that choice is independent of and in addition to your character's background, class, and other options. So much like we did with the crew members in Saltmarsh, right? They were still full characters, but we gave them the bonuses for being an officer, right? They step up. They're above and beyond a normal sailor. So they have the background, they have their class, their racial stats, but we also applied these officer stats to them. This seems similar, though. You know, you could combine. It sounds like you'd have a Saltmarsh, a sailing style Acquisitions Incorporated if you want to blend all the books. Though head office might tell would-be Ack Inc. franchisees to play to their strengths, you should choose the position that speaks to you, and that feels like it'll be the most fun. All characters who take on Acquisitions Incorporated franchise, or an Acquisitions Incorporated franchise, must take a company position. A character can only take one position within a franchise. Each company position has its own distinct flavor, and comes with a range of preternatural benefits. Some of these benefits take the form of material boons granted by head office, including specialized magic items available only to Acquisitions Incorporated franchisees. Others are shaped by the subtle power of your position and the franchise's rank. Players, and especially new players, should keep in mind the amount of creativity and collaboration a company position requires when determining which position is the best fit for their character. In addition to their various mechanical benefits, the features of each company position are intended to offer players and DMs the opportunity to collaborate on crafting campaign narrative. Sometimes this is straightforward, as when a feature allows a character to learn useful information about enemies or allies, as with the Obviators Read the Opposition feature. Sometimes this calls for a focused collaborative effort between player and DM, as with the Cartographer's Tale of Safe Travel, where the narrative options in a position's features lend themselves to interpretation. The DM works with the players to determine how those options play out, as is the baseline model of every Acquisitions Incorporated campaign. Accepting a company position with Acquisitions Incorporated means more than just a title in hopes of a paycheck. With it comes access to trade secrets, best practices, and corporate shortcuts central to fulfilling one's role within a franchise. When a character takes a specific company position, they gain proficiency in the tools and skills associated with that position. Such proficiency also extends to a variety of business practices, day-to-day tasks, the hazard mitigations that are all a part of the job. Professional functions that characters can add their proficiency bonus to are detailed, etc. and so forth. Get over to chat here. I want to run a D&D heist that doesn't turn into a Benny Hill / Payday at some point in the plan. We actually designed a casino heist. We actually designed two. One was a riverboat heist, and the other was a casino heist. It was a casino that was run by devils. It was called the Devil's Due Casino. And it was a very cool. It was a dungeon. But it was, so it wasn't really a heist, it was a dungeon that you had to make your way through, and it was very interesting. I mean, you're probably sick and tired of a casino, but what kind of a heist would you like to run, Old Port? This book does make for an alternative to Pathfinder Kingdom, or Kingmaker, establishing rival businesses. Yes, it did mention that you could make rival franchises and such, which is very interesting. The tools and items that are granted to a character as part of a company position are unique objets created and bestowed by head office on trusted franchisees. Let's see. Company magic items always require attunement, but they do not count against the number of magic items a character can normally attune to. So, kind of referencing back, let's flavor your character. Flavor your character as Acquisitions Incorporated, and it will increase their power, because normally you get 3. And in this case, you might have 6. And there's some other considerations. If the tools of other acquisitions incorporated franchisees are ever found, they cannot be attuned even by characters with the applicable position. Yeah, and so, you know, you're expected to return those tools immediately. Each position magic item is representative of the significant mystic expertise of Acquisitions Incorporated, no matter who might use them. Position items always belong to the franchise proper. You choose your character's position when the character first joins an Acquisitions Incorporated franchise. Your character's position rank is equal to your franchise's rank. Starting from rank 1, you gain specialized training, including new proficiencies, special equipment, and your rank 1 position feature. Then, as the franchise grows, the scope of your position grows with it. Each time the franchise gains a rank, normally 5, 11, and 17, your character is promoted to that new rank in their position and gains the appropriate benefits. So you can be a cartographer. I've seen a million places and I've mapped them all. AI missions can lead across vast tracts of wilderness, huge tracts of land, into ancient ruins, deep underground, or even to far more dangerous and remote places. The cartographer selects the method and route of travel for a franchise and creates and maintains maps of the journey. So this is kind of like the quartermaster role that we were seeing in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. As the characters travel, the cartographer maps important locations and resources, later providing finished maps to head office. The franchise's cartographer is also often responsible for the selection and care of vehicles and mounts. So they're getting some past in-lore references. Here's your essential functions, kind of like a job application style, and your proficiency. In addition to the proficiencies noted below, you can add your proficiency bonus when you make an ability check to create or examine maps, search for new paths in the wild, or assess a route for possible dangers. It's nice that it's kept floating between a couple different skills, but with the specific use of pursuing the job that you were hired to do. As a rank 1 cartographer, you gain proficiency with cartographer's tools and your choice of land or water vehicles. Head office also grants you the use of cartographer's supplies, a waterproof leather map case, a spyglass, and a supply of colored inks. At rank 1, at the start of any mission, you can requisition a second-hand draft horse and cart, barely functional. Riding horses and ponies, typically well-aged, one for each party member. Passage on a ship or ferry, and similar transportation. Any damage or losses to requisitioned equipment is expected to be repaid to head office. You grow with your position, Spyglass of Clairvoyance. Rank 2, your head office supplied spyglass becomes a common magic item. As an action, you can look through the Spyglass of Clairvoyance at a location within 1 mile of you that is obstructing your view, such as a mountain, castle, or forest. You must then succeed on a 15 wisdom check using cartographer's tools to map the natural terrain found within 3 miles of that chosen point. You do not gain any knowledge of creatures, structures, or anything other than natural terrain. This property of the spyglass cannot be used again until the next dawn. The Tale of Safe Travel. So I will read through this, and then we'll mention the other roles and blurb through them. But a lot of this is going to be when you sit down to make this character. What is this extra role that you're taking on? So not only, were you born, so you get your racial stuff. Not only do you have your background, how you grew up, your first job, your hobby, something that you've done. Then you've gone on to learn a trade or a set of skills through your class. Now when you're hired to do something in particular, and a part of that compensation, quote unquote, is this extra training and these magical items. So you can be a cartographer at rank 2. You gain the ability to perform a 45-minute ritual using your cartographer's tools, maps, and 50 gold piece and consumed material components. By doing so, you ensure safe travel for you and other creatures from your current location to another location you could normally reach within 1 day. The destination must be one to which you have traveled previously or for which you have an accurate route and map. So, a little bit of list keeping. Where have you been, or what are the maps you have? Not too terrible though. If your tale is told, is that? Let me make sure I didn't. Oh yeah, that's a tale of safe travel. If your tale is told with reverence and precision, you and up to 6 other creatures plus their gear, including vehicles and or mounts, become encircled in a magical bubble and are pulled into the border ethereal. During the ritual, you tell a story of your future journey, relating details of what will be seen at sea. I like this kind of rule of cool. Here's a mechanical benefit, but your DM might actually have you tell this tale. Now, if you just want to harvest the raw, the mechanics of it, you could. This would be an awesome roleplay prompt, though. And once again, you have to reference the DMG. During the ritual, so you tell us a story of your future journey. The DM can choose to add to the story, imparting additional details or planting seeds for future adventures. If you wish, the ritual can be ended early, allowing the party to encounter what's being described by the DM. Whenever the ritual is ended or interrupted by you, all the travelers arrive safely at the destination. At the DM's discretion, all the travelers affected by the ritual gain the benefit of either a short rest or a long rest during the voyage. Casino's fine, says Old Port. I just don't want to DM it because the one I work at is absolutely ruthless if you go down to the staff-only floors. I like this system because in case of PK, you aren't entirely out in the rain. It's a rental. I'd love to do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kenku, right? Very observant. Repeats a lot of what he or she hears. Needs to be fed vocabulary. So you see how this can touch on so many other supplements and ideas. That'd be a lot of fun, Old Port. At rank 3, your map case becomes a common magic item. In addition to storing normal maps, your cartographer's map case can be used to generate a special map identifying a shortcut. You can use your action to make a DC 15 perception check, with a success revealing a map buried in your cartographer's map case, noting a relevant shortcut. Your travel time is reduced by half while you follow that route. If you beat it by 5 or more, the map includes notes on the terrain, granting you advantage on the next ability check. I like that kind of scaling, because it's usually like you either succeed or don't. You set the arbitrary DC, and you either succeed or don't. I like giving graduated responses or that kind of a thing, especially if your party is quite. Oh yeah, hey, look, if you're studying a foreign language, those are the first words you learn, are the bad words, the cuss words and the body parts. Map of the moment. Starting at rank 3, you can use an action to make a DC 15 wisdom check and search your cartographer's map case to find a map either related to your current mission or inspiring a new one. On a success, you find a map with a prominent landmark. The map has information on the natural terrain within 1 mile of the landmark. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until dawn 7 days later. Possible map mission landmarks: ancient sarcophagus of Gerald Smith, the last resting place of my rich brother that is also a bear cave, a cave filled with screaming bioluminescent worms, a huge pile of rocks with no other rocks within sight. Good prompts. Some might, so this one is kind of mysterious. Others are, kind of humorous, like the cave filled with screaming bioluminescent, or if that one might be horrifying, depending. The last resting place of my rich brother that is also a bear cave. So use this chart as inspiration. Elder Cartographer's Glossography. When you attain rank 4, so we're talking, and you're an epic level cartographer, you gain a small tome that is an uncommon magic item. The Elder Cartographer's Glossography grants advantage on intelligence or wisdom checks related to geographical features or locations. Also at rank 4, your Tale of Safe Travel feature can now span up to 3 days of travel. If your franchise headquarters is mobile, you can include it in your Tale of Safe Travel, and can also include items or goods weighing up to 2,000 pounds. So why would you ever want to be a cartographer? You're a paranoid person by nature. You like seeing what's ahead of you at all times. You like spyglasses a lot. Contrary to popular opinion, the destination is much, much more important than the journey. You suffer from the nagging feeling of never knowing why you've come into a room, and you need the professional flourish that lets you cover for that. Is this a crucial role-playing linchpin for the character? Not necessarily, but it could be a great prompt. It very much can. What would lead you? So you're a wood elf who you took the Outlander feature because you grew up on a farm on the frontier. And while you were training, so you're an elf who's an Outlander, you trained to be a ranger, so you could hunt and gather and whatnot in the woods to help supplement the frontier, the frontier lifestyle. And then you went to be a cartographer when you wanted to apply to be a cartographer with Acquisitions Incorporated. Now, because of not only all that stuff, or maybe only because of that, and you don't even need this chart, or you add, I could do a lot of things. I could protect a caravan. I could do whatever. Why would I want to be a cartographer? After being this wood elf, growing up on the frontier of this farm and becoming a ranger, you might actually be somewhat pessimistic. When you joined, you saw that a lot of people might talk about, oh yeah, we could totally open up a trade route to whatever, Cormyr or, one of the Dale lands for using Faerun. You're fairly certain no one else in your party even knows how to hold a map, let alone read one. And here you are, you've survived on the frontier for so long, and everyone's like, yeah, we're going to get this going, and they just hired you in, and you're seeing your bosses or your peers absolutely being baffled at how would you even do this. And so you step up and say, hey, you leave this to me, and that makes you important in the business. You get the extra bonus, and there you go. The worms have a monotone scream though, so it's not as scary. So they're just kind of like a bunch of Ben Stein worms. Decisionists are interesting. They, in lore, tie in party members not being in the session. A decisionist brings decisive leadership to an Acquisitions Incorporated franchise. They settle disputes and ensure that the team moves forward toward its goals, often serving as a leader, officially or otherwise, and compass for the party. A signature move of the decisionist is to impress the importance of a particular looming choice on the other franchisees, then call for a vote. The results of all franchise votes are recorded, then later reported at head office. Decisionists are also concerned with franchise morale and teamwork, helping all members of the franchise work together effectively. All decisionists vary in their approach to the task. You might primarily attempt to convince others through charismatic arguments, or through force of will or intellectual cunning. You might lead by example, or extolling the examples of other people who've done the things you haven't quite gotten around to yet. Many decisionists go on to publish famous tomes, such as the best-selling Habits of Effective Adventuring Parties, and I don't care if the rogue stole your coins, we have a job to do. You help advance the franchise by calling for votes, making sure you're always on the side with the most votes, and resolving disputes within the franchise party. So this is in lore, like in there. So I guess on the C team, Donner Blitzen and Kelshi Anab. Anab? So you receive one extra vote on franchise matters and resolve inter-party conflicts. That is what you're meant to do. In addition to the proficiencies noted below, you can add your proficiency bonus to any ability check To influence a decision being made by a group, assess the popularity of certain customs or individuals, or boost the morale of franchise hirelings. Right? We're talking about loyalty, the optional loyalty rule in the DMG. Proficiency with a musical instrument, the horn, or whatever. I mean, talk to your DM about it. Head office also grants you the use of a musical instrument, your choice of horn, a voting kit, ballots, a ballot box, an I voted sticker set, and a coin of decisionry. This large gold coin is emblazoned with the sigil of Acquisitions Incorporated as heads, and has a heads and a tails, and that image varies. So there we go. Whatever. Some fun just randomness that you can employ. Whenever members of your franchise take a vote, you can present your coin of decisionry and cast 2 votes. Your rank 2, decide quite confidently how they would have voted. In addition, if a vote is ever taken while you're absent, you can call for a recount and add your 2 votes in the final result. Your coin of decisionry becomes a common magic item. It always lands with the Acquisitions Incorporated sigil face down, and a message appears on the tail's face. Roll a d4 on the following table to determine the message: lucrative, brand appeal, indeterminate, or ruinous. Coin has absolutely no divination abilities, and its results when you use it are random. But nobody else knows that. Wink. So this is an intrinsic a party, well, party leader, but certainly the party pusher might be better. We need to do this. Are we going down the left cave or the right cave? All right, fine. We're going to take a vote. And by assigning this role as sort of de facto party leader, or at least everyone says, fine, we're going to leave it to the decisionist, the enforcer. You know, there might be an argument between going down the left cave or the right cave. But ultimately, the person playing the decisionist is the one who steps up and just says, no, this is what we're doing. And is taking any sort of heat. And as a way of not just like suppressing arguments, but you're resolving arguments. Because in the corporate law, right, the party follows the decisionist if it comes down to it. Not that they have to, because the decisionist is the arbitrator. Inspired decision at rank 3. Charming misdemeanor at rank 4. You can present your coin of decisionry to grant yourself an extra vote when your franchise votes, for a total of 3 votes. Once you do so, you cannot do so again until dawn 7 days later. And a clandestine kit. There we go. You have some advice from Donner Blitzen here in the file. Why would you be a decisionist? Well, there's roleplay prompts for you. Hey, Physaris, good morning to you. Yeah, Donner Blit, the reindeer reference. We might have needed one of those IRL tonight. What happened, James? You could be a documancer. Every Great Acquisitions Incorporated quest begins with a contract from the head office, and a franchisee's documancer is most likely the one who controls and channels the power of the contract. A documancer bears the responsibility of managing each of a franchise's quests, of ensuring that every condition of the quest is fulfilled, and of recording and sending on information vital to the head office when the mission is complete. Mission complete! When creating contracts with other organizations, a documancer makes sure that the language benefits both the franchise and Acquisitions Incorporated. As a documancer, you are respected for having the commitment and mental fortitude required to work with head office. You advance your franchise by using documancy for communication, insisting on recording all deals in writing, retaining records, destroying other records, and recalling vital information. Let's see. In addition to the proficiencies, you can add your proficiency bonus to an ability check to organize lore, analyze official or arcane documents, or convey a legally binding point of view. Some proficiencies, let's see. Calligrapher supplies, a documancy satchel for your calligrapher supplies, a ledger, sealing wax, copper and silver leaf, a documancer's seal of limited authority, and a scroll case. You get a gift of words at rank 1. You're fluent in the semi-arcane language of documancy. This knowledge grants you advantage on intelligence checks to decipher codes or similar scripts. The DM might also provide you with hints whenever you try to solve a puzzle or decipher clues involving writing. Now you see, right, we're 3 jobs, like 3 roles into this. And do you see how each of these roles can take a meta aspect of the game and turn it into that person's job? Now, whether or not, Tiffany sitting at your table is good at solving puzzles, if Tiffany is your documancer, she can at least be confident when she's trying to decipher a puzzle, because that's her job. Just as, trying to herd cats, I mean, it's no pun intended given the current camera state, herding cats, who's the party leader? Well, we have a party leader, someone whose responsibility is to make the decisions, and there we go. And I do appreciate that it is taking these meta concerns or these things that parties just run into and assigns it as a task to someone in the party. Your job is to take care of this. Oh, it's a whole long thing. I'll save not to derail. Hey, if you want to share it, James, you're welcome to. And O'Sheeps is in with the cat butt. Thank you. Thank you for the cat butt, O'Sheeps. We are in a cat butt situation. You get a documancy satchel. You're fluent in boss. Your documancer training allows you to better process head office communications, as well as to understand what pleases your superiors. You can cast the augury spell with that spell's omens of weal or woe, based solely on the perspective of head office. It should be noted that head office at times has a surprisingly high disregard for potential woe to its employees. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until dawn 7 days later. Ranks are decent rewards rather than XP for taking on roles. Yeah, I like that it grows with you. And you get more responsibility. You also get more things, and it takes the adventuring into a process of growth. In a world that it's not like the nose is to the grindstone in the middle of an epic campaign in a traditional D&D sense. You are measuring your growth, sure, with your character level. Oh, there's Cat Butt. I'm going to cover him up for you. So sure, you get character levels, you get milestones or EXP, but the growth is not just on what does my character get? What does our franchise get? Or how have I grown in influence? How have we come together? Hey, Coffee Cat, welcome. Coffee Cat, oh, you're here just in time. Oh, Sheeps wants a gotcha capsule. So I will, so if you all want to read this, I'll scroll and, so here we go. So you can read this. Oh, Sheeps, when I see you say stop, I will pull whatever capsule I am holding in my hand at the time. I'm keeping it open until I see stop, and then I'll reveal it and we'll see what you get. All right. So you have a green cap. Clearly that's green. And let's find out what is inside your gotcha capsule, oh sheeps. Oh. You have a Gith Yankee, or I'm sorry, this is a Gith Zerai, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, a Gith Zerai monk. He even, I might have to turn off my, my filter here. There we go. He even has the Fu Manchu. So he's got some daggers, wearing some cool robes. But he even has like a Fu Manchu hairstyle. In fact, I'll show it to you because this is out of Storm King's Thunder. Old Port Media, you knew what you're getting into when you clicked on this channel. No apologies. By the by, I've moved up in the world to a brand name generic soda. Another? My goodness, oh sheeps. Well, I'm going to put the PDF back up so folks who want to read about this can do so. There's the scroll service. All right, you know the drill. This is considered retail therapy. Oh, there's a piece of paper in this one. Let's see what it is. Hypothetically speaking, if a character was using... Oh, it's also another green lid. If a character is using an ability or an item which has a 24-hour cooldown in a pocket space where time is running 4 times faster, then comes out of the pocket space with the cooldown time. So that is something that is going to be table by table. It's going to be a table by table, or like DM by DM decision about what that means. Is the item still tied mystically to the real world? Is it based on the biorhythm of your character if you attune to it? There's a lot of ways that can be interpreted. All right, oh sheeps. Oh, you have one of those. You actually have a capsule with 4 figures in it. And let me see. I'm going to try and grab this here for you. You have an interesting capsule that I put together because inside of it is a Vargoyle, a Mind Drinker vampire, a Blood Drinker vampire, and a Vampire vampire. And I'll show you the pieces. So you actually got a 4-pack out of that one. That's a fun capsule. I had a lot of fun making a vampire-themed capsule. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here we go. This box has all of the either like the multi-pieces or the big pieces. All right, so oh sheeps, this is the vampire. And of course the camera's like, what? Blur? Sure. There we go. So here's our vampire. Here is our Vargoyle. So it's like a little vampire head with bat wings coming out of it. Here is your Mind Drinker vampire. Our Mind Drinker vampire. And lastly, the Blood Drinker vampire is quite a sassy lass who has a goblet full of blood and a hand on her hip. So, welcome on your combo pack there. 4 figures in 1 capsule. Congrats on that. Also, we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're 14 capsules into the gacha. After 6 more capsules, the prize goblins go in. I'm glad that you liked it. So, why be a documancer? You heard a rumor once that signing a contract with your offhand is technically non-binding, and you're desperate to see if it's true. For reasons. As a child, you learned to cross your fingers behind your back when making a promise. Now you yearn to make that legally binding. The smell of old parchment makes you giddy. Now, you could also be a hordes person. As the name suggests, Acquisitions Incorporated is all about the acquiring, and the hordes person's job is all about storing that hard-earned loot. Each hordes person, by the way, this is seeming like this is going to be whoever's keeping track of party funds. You see what I mean by taking a sort of a meta job from people at the table and sort of giving an in-game reward for it? Each hordes person plays the vital role of managing a franchise's resources, including the inventory of all supplies used and treasure gained during an adventure. Hordes persons pay particular attention to making sure that the supplies are requisitioned. By the way, so this is Coffee Cat. Yep. I was just going to say, and I look over and there it is in chat. I'm like, this is Coffee Cat in the Tuesday game. Coffee Cat is a hordes person. Is approved resources whenever possible, and ensuring that the proper selection of loot is sent to head office at the end of a mission. As a hordes person, you are known as a trustworthy and responsible individual. You support your franchise by demonstrating accuracy, avoiding shortfalls, and anticipating resource needs. Manages stores items. Okay, so in addition to the proficiencies noted below, you can add your proficiency bonus to an ability check to negotiate a price for goods and services, assess the quality of equipment and treasure, or analyze resources in a local area. Hey, there's a tabaxi. Unless it's something else that I'm just not getting. So you're going to get the jeweler's tools, an account ledger, as well as up to 5 gold pieces worth of equipment from the following options, etc., etc., etc. What a deal! At rank 1, you can use your extensive supply network to buy one item found on any table in the mounts and vehicles or trade goods section of Chapter 5. If you fail the check, you cannot use this feature again until you finish a long rest. A living loot satchel. As a rank 2 hordes person, you are granted the use of a living loot satchel, which is an uncommon magic item. It functions as a bag of holding and is available in a variety of colors and styles. And so here's a class-based one. So Mordecai's a bard. It's a lute case. Or in this case, it would be like a violin case because of his violin. If you're playing a sorcerer, here's an inspiration. It's a battered leather satchel prone to spitting out multicolored sparks at the seams. Does it have to always be that for every sorcerer? No, but use it for fun. Welcome back, Carl. Yeah, gacha capsule is a $5. So if my Warforged uses a Theremin Imbolt, do they... oh, yeah. So I bet your DM could say, yeah, you open your chest because it's been magically enhanced to, be bigger on the inside. And you just sort of, whoop, there you go. Or you want a 10-foot pole? Doop, 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 doop. Party inventory? Well, hey, Coffee, if you want to go into our sort of our green room, for the cast to hang out, you can say, hey, everyone, give me an accounting of what you have on your character so I can make a big document about it. The Warforged becomes a TARDIS. Oh, so 2 dry cloaks here. Yes, is it tabaxi? So a good example, right? And by doing this too, you may not have seen or read or whatever about these other adventures. Now that you have these references, you can go back and research. You can have fun with it. Living Loot Satchel is a kind of magical being that safeguards the franchise's funds and valuables. Its innards are connected to a secure coffer within the head office's vault in Waterdeep, to which the satchel periodically transfers the franchise's wealth. As an action, you can transfer any amount of your franchise's funds back to your satchel with a successful sleight of hand check. Also, rank 2 head office trusts that as long as your needs are met, you have no reason to skim any profits. You maintain a wealthy lifestyle at no cost to you. No cost to you, but it doesn't mean that you might not be able to share that extra cheese you get with other people in your party. Secret Satchel gets an upgrade to be used for the Leomund's Secret Chest spell. That thing you need, also at rank 3. There's a bonus action. You can reach into your living loot satchel and make a sleight of hand check. On a success, you draw forth an item of your choice on the adventuring gear table in Chapter 5. Hey! That's pretty handy, huh? It's that thing you need. Now, of course, by rank 3, you know, you're level 11 through 16 at that point in time. What's 50 feet of hempen rope or a hooded lantern? And a portable hull satchel at rank 4. Your living loot satchel receives another upgrade, becoming a very rare magic item. The secret chest accessed by your satchel now has the storage capacity of a portable hull. Why would you be a Hordes person? Once, through a series of increasingly complex negotiations, you traded a paperclip for temporary control of a minor fiefdom. Don't laugh. I actually did this in the economics class I taught, where we had an ongoing paperclip trading exercise throughout this semester. I gave all the students a paperclip, and they had to keep a journal of their trades. And by the end of the semester, we got to see what they traded up to from a humble paperclip. And after the first couple weeks, I started giving them something interesting or thematic. Like, in 1 week, you had to trade for something green. You had to get 2 things for your one thing. And go from there and there and there. And by the end of the semester, they saw, by virtue of trading, what they could actually go from a humble paperclip that was given to them. And now some of them had some really cool stuff. Yeah, there's something like someone got a car, a house, and all that. Yeah, exactly. One red paperclip DAWT.com. You could be a lore monger. Oh, you love the D1 choice? You once tried to dive into a huge pool of gold coins and it hurt. Yeah, kids at home, if you ever have a large Scrooge McDuck vault full of coins, don't jump into it, please. That's not how coins work. Oh, hi. Well, there's the other cat. I never forget a detail, though many wish I would. Information has value, and the loremonger is that information's keeper. A franchise's loremonger studies and records all lore relevant to its operation, including tracking the economic, technical, and arcane methods by which the franchise can be improved. A loremonger records the deeds and history of the franchise, including the names of places visited. So, again, we're taking, generally, you know, something like, maybe it's talked about, but it's a meta characteristic. It is a meta characteristic of the game, and it is putting it into the game and making it fun and using it to build lore. I absolutely love this. In addition to the proficiencies noted below, you can use your proficiency bonus to an ability check to analyze the operation of a franchise, assess historical records, or decipher codes. Also, I turned the music to dark and stormy, so it's my lightning, not yours. Don't worry about it. Yes, you are. So yes, you are the horde person on Tuesday. You're the loremonger on Sunday. Suddenly, we find out that Coffee Cat is Solomon Grundy. If there's a thunder and lightning in Vegas, I'm concerned. Yeah, it probably doesn't happen all that often, huh? Let's see. You gain one of the following proficiencies of your choice. Artisan's tools. Oh, you get to choose a type. Navigator's tools, land vehicles, or water vehicles. Head office also grants you the use of an appropriate toolkit of your choice as a tool proficiency, as well as ink and an ink pen. Whisper Jar. Also, at rank 1, you are the beneficiary of a Whisper Jar, a common magic item resembling an ether-filled jar with a long tap hose. The jar is used to record other stories and your own observations, like a verbal notebook with unlimited space. The Whisper Jar records as fast as a creature can speak into it and whispers back words at the same pace they were recorded. Activating the playback of a particular recording is an action. A live recording, so things recorded in your Whisper Jar, some random stuff. A live recording of the only performance of the mostly forgotten stage play Tabaxi on a Hot Tin Roof. The life's work of the loremonger who owned the jar before you. Everything, because everyone else around you will eat their words one day. You just keep that constantly on, and you've got goods on people. The entire family tree of every royal line, extant or lost in Faerun. A moment-by-moment review of your favorite gym dark magic stage performance, or the sound of raucous applause, which you play back liberally, or your own entrance music, if not a laugh track or clapping. What this will also do, it'll encourage the player to take notes, maybe just in case you have a plot device, or you have a way for the DM to say, yes, so in accessing your Whisper Jar, you remember that, this person said that thing. At rank 2, your insight grants you preternatural knowledge of the creatures around you. As an action, select one humanoid you can see and make a DC 15 intelligence investigation check. On a success, you learn the following information: the creature's name, up to 3 aliases it has used in the past month, its primary profession, and its skill proficiencies. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. That's a good ability. Whispered Encyclopedia, so you're a loremonger, right? It'll give you knowledge. Construction permits. Best practices for improving Acquisitions Incorporated franchise. Results in a 20% reduction in your franchise's monthly costs. Ooh. Whispered warnings, efficient upgrades, and whispered arcana. Yeah, meow, ow, 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 Tabaxi on a Hot Tin Roof. Now, why would you ever want to be a loremonger? Your favorite thing to hear is, I probably shouldn't say anything, but did you know? Your Whisper Jar is a better conversationalist than most people you've ever met. Peoples and cultures can never die as long as their stories are still told. Oh, very beneficent. A person is only as good as their word, and you feel compelled to keep others honest. You can't read or write, so this whole recording and playing back what you say in a jar thing is a huge benefit. Why not have an illiterate character? And it won't impact you. You can have an 8 intelligence loremonger, and the party won't suffer for it. Then we have the Obviator. Obstacles abound along the path to riches. A franchise's mission success might require combating a rival organization's disinformation attempts one day, then besting a castle's defenses the next. The day after that, some poor sap named Bob might need to be disposed of. And no matter what the type of challenge that needs to be overcome, the franchise's Obviator determines the optimal way to shut down and destroy that challenge. Nothing personal, Bob, it's just business. As an Obviator, you hatch convoluted plots to fight the overwhelming odds presented by each mission, by whatever means are necessary. Sometimes you might prefer brute strength and improvisation. Other times you might undertake a deep study of conflicts and rival organizations, working carefully to stay 3 steps ahead of the opposition. In all cases, though, you help advance your franchise by hatching effective plans and tactics, anticipating problems, and learning about your foes. In addition to the proficiencies, you can add your bonus to make sense of an enemy's tactics, discern a hidden threat, or intimidate a foe whose weaknesses you have previously assessed off of a position below here. And so this does bring us, again, what is the meta sense? Well, how do we go about solving not the riddle, because that's not this job. How do we go about sieging the goblin camp to rescue the mayor's daughter? How do we handle this upcoming situation? The obviator should know. And so it's that person's job to make the plan, which hopefully a plan isn't a list of things that can go wrong, even though a lot of times it is. And so it's this role, and how would you approach it? I mean, in the Tuesday game, we've had some decision paralysis, right? We have our characters that each put value in different things. And so, because there's so many, fires to put out, it can lead to, well, but we would have to rely on this specific circumstance. And if that's the case, then, the whole thing comes tumbling down if only this one thing happens first. Some of these things straight up break certain plot points, or villains need to use 4 aliases used in the last month. It can, but you know what? As the dungeon master, if you're allowing these rules, you're allowing the rules with understanding what it could mean. Because remember, in a world where these rules exist, so too do the consequences, the knowledge of what people can find out. A lot of people might say, well, Aarakocra are broken because they can fly. Okay. Well, if you live in a world where Aarakocra exist, and especially are problematic, you better believe that crossbows or bows and arrows or other kinds of ranged attacks and the skill to use them also exist, because people don't want to have Aarakocra swoop down and burgle them. So yes, you have a character that can fly. Half the world knows how to shoot a bow or a crossbow with decency. Well, decently. I guess with decency they say, excuse me, fling. Thank you for receiving my bolt. And that's the workaround, right? In a world where something exists, so too do the circumstances that created it and can respond to it. Yeah, specialized arrows and stuff. Exactly. So you gain proficiency with alchemist supplies. Head office also grants you the use of alchemist supplies, that's a long parenthetical list. Your choice of a vial of acid, a flask of alchemist fire, or a vial of antitoxin, and a hunting trap. Also at rank 1, you can attempt to get a reading on one creature you can see, trying to learn useful information about it. As a bonus action, make a DC 15 wisdom check. Insight check. On a success, you learn 3 details of your choice about the creature. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can use this feature only once on any creature. Possible details you might learn include a creature's goals or motivation, bonds or ideals, personality traits, flaws, combat strategy, financial information, lair location, etc. and so forth. Alchemist Insight. At rank 2, you can use an action to use your alchemist supplies to identify any unknown substance, including alchemical items, potions, and whatnot. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest. The chart where you first dabbled in alchemy. You were once the personnel manager of a struggling business and needed to come up with an herbal cure-all that would keep employees awake for 18-hour shifts. No one died, mostly. The child of a wealthy and despotic noble, you learned to smell poisoned pastries a mile off. A shame that your siblings weren't so talented. Or, as a server in a tavern, you refined the perfect hangover cure but never wrote the recipe down. Now you're desperate to recreate it. I'm with that regarding Star Anise ice cream. Made this amazing 1 year. Oh, and you don't remember the recipe? No bloody clue about the recipe. Oh, get it back, old port. Get it back. Rank 2, you gain the use of an uncommon magic item in the form of a pair of spectacles, a spyglass, It's your obviator's lenses. You must use a bonus action to make them function as the eyes of minute seeing or eyes of the eagle. Oh, hey, one of our Tuesday players received eyes of the eagle. Advanced preparations, a travel alchemical kit, enhanced lenses, rank 4. This is epic level stuff, right? As your franchise grows, so too do your powers. Obviate the opposition. Rank 4, use your read the opposition feature and fail the check. You still learn one detail about the target creature. Additionally, you can use the read the opposition more than once on the same creature, but if you do so, you can't use that feature again on the same creature until you finish a long rest. Why would you be an obviator? Your favorite saying is all according to plan, especially when you have no idea what's going on. You find the little details so much more interesting than anything else. Methodical, calculating, brilliant. One day, you hope these words will apply to you. It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you, and if you're out to get them first. The Oculant. An Oculant tracks the creatures and foes that a franchise has bested or killed, weighing them against the deeds the franchise has achieved. Using the Eldritch Abacus, for which this position is named, an occultant, like an accountant, an occultant measures the karmic coordinates of their franchise, hoping to gain portents of that which is yet to come. Like all occultants, you are a grim and enigmatic figure. Even your closest companions might be wary of the power that you channel, and nobody wears that aura of dark mystery like you do. You help advance your franchise by determining whether foes should live or die, prognosticating correctly, or at least authoritatively, keeping the rest of the party attuned to the importance of karma, and making the right calls on how best to clean up any incorrect readings or misunderstandings. Track kills, assess the value to the franchise of the living and dead. In addition to the proficiencies noted below, you can add your proficiency bonus to an ability check to intimidate a creature close to death, assess what disease or poison killed a creature, or explain what the dead body is doing under your bed at the inn. Yeah, there's a fun-looking tiefling. I like the little barb at the end of her tail. As rank 1, you gain proficiency in one of the following: cook's utensils, leatherworker's tools, or weaver's tools. Head office also grants you the use of a toolkit. Merchant scale, 5 waterproof belt pouches in which to store creature parts or other tools, and a unique item known as the Occultant Abacus, sometimes just referred to as the Occultant, whose beads resemble tiny skulls. Read the kill. Also at rank 1, your Occultant Abacus not only tracks your franchise's kills, it helps you determine the impact of those kills on the franchise's fate. Over a period of 1 minute, you can study a creature killed by someone in your franchise within the last 24 hours. Then grant the character who slew it a d10. Once within the next hour, that character can add the d10 to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. If it's not clear who administered the killing blow, you grant this benefit to a random creature involved in the fight. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. TLDR, don't trust him from accounting. If he can hide some numbers, he can hide a body. Ways to read the kill. Flavor. Fun flavor. Using a tiny bellows to pump one last breath into a corpse. A cautious, reasoned professional guesstimate. Careful measurements. The distance between the nostrils. The difference between the index finger and the middle finger. The elasticity of the earlobe. You take a long, careful look and then decide based on which fellow franchisee has been nice to you lately. Eldritch Occultant. Your Abacus becomes an uncommon magic item that can track lives both emanated or eliminated and saved. While holding your Occultant Abacus within 5 feet of a creature killed within the last 24 hours, you can cast the Augury spell. The course of action you inquire about with the spell does not need to have any connection to the dead creature. This property of the Occultant Abacus can't be used again until the next dawn. Bring out your dead! You can use your Read the Kill feature after you finish a short or long rest. The Bead of Instant Karma, Death's Omen. I mean, certainly cool names. I hope that you're enjoying this. I'm not reading everything, I know. It's here. You can always, on the VOD, pause it if you want to take another quick look here. But you're kind of a oh shoot, in the Vampire Bloodlines game they called it a bad luck farmer. Although in this case you're reading the tides of karma to get some good results. You could be a secretarian. I've sold ice in Icewind Dale. Secretarian's focus is on people and all the potential value that might be wrung out of them. Every person met outside a franchise is a potential customer to a secretarian who does whatever they can to bring that relationship to fulfillment. Secretarian seeks always to promote their franchise and gain greater value than they give. So you extract information, assess the strengths and weaknesses of others. Let's see. You get proficiency. Let's see. Ability check to convince a suspicious crowd of your good or at least non-evil intentions. Encourage franchise hirelings to work faster or improvise a jingle extolling the virtues of your franchise. Your starting equipment here. Ask me about Acquisitions Incorporated. There you go. At rank 1, you're given the use of an Acquisitions Inc. Sending Stone. Hey, there you go, Mordecai. An uncommon magic item that resembles a gemstone in a bold setting. It functions like a normal sending stone, except it has no matching stone and allows communication with the head office. Specifics, secretarians you know, and the secretarian nearest your location. Remember, your franchise has these, but the other franchises do as well, and there's always those roles at the home office. Which is kind of nice because you can communicate with the home office, and you're supposed to get best practices and advice and other things from the DM, right? The head office. Portfolio Keeper, you gain the use of a weathered leather pouch. That's an uncommon magic item. Portfolio Keeper holds and organizes notes, brochures, and business cards. Bring your contact information. You're a rumor mill. You get cards of sending. An improved rumor mill. You're always hiring. In rank 4, epic level. You have little trouble in finding the right people for the job. As an action, while in a populated area, you can make a DC 15 persuasion check to locate an NPC. You can provide the service immediately. No questions asked for the standard fee. Pretty good. You there, I need water. Yes, my lord. Whoops. I scrolled too far. All right. We have one last part to look at here. Though this is going to be the franchise tasks and downtime. Yeah, you know what? I don't know, because if it's a list of things, I don't want to... I'm not going to read over the entire list here. Let's see what it looks like real quick. See if I should take a break or not. You know, this actually looks like some pretty solid content here. There are some charts. Tell you what, I'm gonna get up and take a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up with this last section I want to cover tonight, because tomorrow we're gonna get into the player options, and so we're gonna finish franchise stuff here. No, James, you are fine. You are absolutely fine. You know, we all have different takes, different opinions. You're fine on it. All right. I'll be back in like 5 minutes, everyone. Let's get up and take a stretch, refresh ourselves, and we'll knock this last part out of the park.